Hi, everybody. I've had a rough night last night, and this might be perfect, actually, perfect opportunity to reflect on the spiritual principle of enoughness. Okay, so how does this relate to my core values? First of all, let me explain. If you haven't seen, if you're interested in my random spiritual musings, I have another video called The Gratitude Lens, Lens, lens. And in that video, I talked about these values of gratitude, lightness, eternality, nexus, and safe stage for giving and receiving love. And I'm changing the letter E from eternality to enoughness. And the reason is because I realize that it's always been such a core principle of liberation for me, enoughness, that yeah, and I, it's never enough. It seems to be reminded of it. That's the only thing that's not enough is to be reminded of it again and again and again. And so that's what I need. Everything else is enough except for the need to be reminded of enough. Okay. Um, but even whatever amount I'm reminded of it is also enough, of course. Okay, so what does this mean, and how is this so liberating for me? Well, first of all, by enoughness, usually we think about material things like, oh, it was I, whatever things I have in my life are enough. I don't need more. Whatever money I have is somehow magically going to be enough because I'm still here. We might say to ourselves, and we're all at different financial situations, but it is true, isn't it? Like, yes, many of us feel like we're poor or don't have enough, and yet look at you, you're watching this video. You're probably sheltered, okay? But even if you're not sheltered, I think always of my spiritual hero, Peace Pilgrim. I mention her as often as I can feel appropriate to do so. And if you have not yet heard her audiobook, it changed my life. I mean, that's part of it, really added to my commitment to enoughness. And so check out her audiobook. It's free to listen to completely. It's on the internet. It's SoundCloud has the free Peace Pilgrim audiobook, and it was life changing for me to listen to that. I've heard that several times, and I need to go back to it and listen to it again. Now she was living a life I don't think most of us are called to live, maybe because she was homeless and was homeless for most of her, or yeah, for all pretty much all her adult life, and just walked from one end of the American continent to the other end of the American continent, and just back and forth. Literally just walked from one, and just slept on the sides of roads, slept on concrete many nights, slept in forests, ate berries from the bushes. That's how she survived, and she never asked for food. She never asked for money. Never asked, and never took money. Actually, that was her commitment, to never take or spend money. And she never even asked for. She never begged. She just kept walking until someone noticed her and gave her food and gave her shelter sometimes, but otherwise she'll just sleep out in the open. She got used to sleeping in the cold, in the hot, everywhere, on concrete many times, and in abandoned homes or whatever. Not breaking in, but just like open abandoned shelters or whatever. Anyway, so I keep mentioning her because and she was people's, and she just helped people wherever she went. Someone need help, she just helped them. And people who saw her said she was the happiest person they ever met. So her example always reminds me that no matter how little we have, there is always a way to discover enoughness. I mean, she's the extreme ultimate example, right? Having literally nothing to her name. She just wore a tunic and that's it. And but how does this relate to those of us who are not called to be homeless? Okay, how does this relate to a spiritual principle of liberation? All right, here's how. Every moment I realize this is my reminder to myself and perhaps useful to you. Every moment there is enough to sustain me for this moment. Now, my life hasn't been that hard, right? Like, I haven't been to jail. I haven't, had to live on the streets. And yet, I've lived in cities, so I've seen people who have lived on the streets or whatever. And I've talked with them. Strangely, they prefer that to living in shelters, because living in shelters, you get your stuff stolen, you get some mean people, anyway. Um, so like, even people who live, and it's like, whatever stage of life we're in, the moment we're in right now is somehow magically enough. And enoughness disappears when we start thinking, well, I hope tomorrow I have enough, right? When we start thinking of the future, oh, we might not have enough in the future. That's when enoughness vanishes. And when we come back here and to this very moment, somehow like the universe is giving me enough right now. I don't have everything I want, right? Want also vanishes enoughness. But I have everything I need to stay alive right now. And of course, even if we don't stay alive, if it's time for our bodies to expire due to illness, due to whatever reason, well, in my worldview, in my opinion, we pop out of our bodies and see that, oh my God, the entire time, and this is back to the eternality principle, oh, the entire time I was just playing this game called the earth life, and this avatar physical body that made it seem so real, that there were so many limitations of time and energy and physical, health and you know, willpower, love. It seemed like it was limited, but actually, my soul, when it's liberated, has unlimited everything. There was always enough, but of course, in this game, it doesn't seem like there's enough. And yet, isn't it true, again, that this moment seems enough? This moment, if we let go of tomorrow, if we let go of even the next hour, if we let go of, the next moment. So um, let me continue applying this to more than just physical things, okay, material objects. It's also enough if my partner doesn't behave in the way that I think she should, that I want her to behave in this way. So, for example, one day, my partner wasn't feeling well. Actually, this principle I was reflecting on, things started happening. Like, it was, yesterday, my partner was having some emotional turmoil because of some things happening in her life, and I wanted her to feel fine, right? Because that makes me happier when she's happy. And so, typically, my natural, probably male mind, happens to a lot of guys, try to fix the situation. Oh, what can I do to make you feel good again? And of course, um, I could do some things, but there are many things I can't do to fix her emotions. And then I remember this principle of enoughness. I'm like, okay, even if she's feeling that way, I lean into enoughness and say, that's okay. You might say acceptance of reality, right? That's basically what I'm talking about, acceptance and surrender to reality, and say, okay, no matter how she's feeling and no matter how I'm feeling, because I'm not happy when she's not happy, that's enough too for this moment. It's enough for her to be whoever she needs to be right now. It's enough for me to be whoever I need to be. Now, I admit I wasn't the best partner yesterday. When I wasn't happy, she wasn't happy. And I, you know, I'm sure I could have behaved even more spiritually, but that was enough for that moment. That and right again, this is also related to forgiveness, forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others. Like that's enough. It's enough. Whatever's happening right now is enough. And so let me talk about last night. Um, I had a rough night, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Um, we live in a home, and we live in a home that has very little insulation because we live in a place, well, that's one of the benefits is it's such good weather year round that the houses don't have to be well insulated. Like a lot of the windows, or several of the windows have, like cannot fully close. It's just like you just bend the glass panels to be more open or less open, and it's not fully closed. And so what happens is we have somewhere in our neighborhood, someone is burning something all night long, like heavy, heavy smoke. And it smelled like there was a heavy smoker inside our home smoking cigarettes. I don't know if it's cigarette, anyway, but I have very sensitive sense of smell. And so I was having a very hard time all night trying to sleep. And I couldn't tell anybody because I didn't even know where it was coming from. And and then I remember this principle of enoughness to say, even though, to be honest, I felt like I was being tortured because, like with sound, because sometimes there's loud music in our neighborhood, I could put on earplugs, I could turn on, the fan or whatever. But with smoke, we have an air filter, but it does nothing compared to the infusion the entire house with heavy smoke. And of course, we got up in the middle of the night, 4 a.m., finally decided to tape up the windows with plastic, with our garbage bags, whatever. But anyway, the idea again is I had to surrender and say, even even though I'm like imagining myself getting lung cancer or whatever, like imagining all the spat smoke coming in, even that is enough. Even this experience of extreme unpleasantness, this very moment, I'm still able to breathe, even though the air I breathe is not good air. Even right now, as I'm recording this is the morning of, and I still very much smell it in the air, but it's not as bad as last night, thankfully. It's still enough. It's enough. Whatever I'm experiencing is somehow, again, this is so helpful that I believe, I have this opinion of, that it was all designed for our growth, for my growth. I somehow designed all my experiences of difficulty, struggle, suffering, or at least challenges for me to grow. To grow, and it was. As I look back last night, physically very uncomfortable, and I was thinking about my dog and how my dog's sense of smell is even, 100 times more, whatever dogs have, and I'm like, and my wife, thankfully, her sense of smell is not very good, so she wasn't suffering very much, but I was suffering greatly, and my dog, I'm sure, was coughing several times throughout the night, but what can we do? Except taping up the windows. Anyway, so it's like, no matter what's happening, I grew from that experience of realizing, surrendering, it's enough. Like, the more I said, this is enough, whatever's happening right now, enough to be grateful. It's my core values. Gratitude lens begins with gratitude, always at the foundation of it. It's like whatever I'm going through, there's something that I can find gratitude for this experience of growth, of learning, of loving, of receiving love. And there's always love being given. There's always love abundantly being given to us by God, higher self, consciousness, eternal source, whatever your favorite way of putting it is. There's always love being abundantly throughout the entire universe, every molecule, even the smoke that I smelled, breathed in last night, at first unwillingly, was filled with love. And eventually, as I realized, oh, even this is enough, even this is okay, even this is, we did the best we could, and this is enough. Then even this, breathing in of air, is love. It's enough. It's more than enough. It's grace, divine grace given to us in every moment. So I then this principle is liberating for me because I mean just in the day to day, thankfully there isn't usually unpleasant smoke or emotional issues or whatever, but day to day, I'm working. My business goes up and down like everyone else's business. It's enough. It's enough. It's enough. Whether it's up or down, it's enough. It's enough. It's enough. And not that enoughness doesn't make us do things, right? Like there's a balance here. That old saying of trust God, but tie your camel. Right? The idea, don't let your camel be stolen. I guess maybe this came from the cultures that had camels, that rode camels. Trust God, but tie your camel. Um, Same idea, like last night with the smoke. Like, oh, okay, there's something we can do here that taught us a new skill of taping up our windows. Like, we've never done that before here, or maybe once before in life we've done it. But it's like, here, okay, this is how we tape up windows. This is how we work together, collaborate together, do this. And she showed tremendous compassion because she thought of the idea and she was like taking initiative. My wife was taking it. I'm like so grateful, right? And then after we did, that's all we can do for this time being. And trust God, tie our camel. We're practicing both, and that's enough. And so same thing in business or in anything. It's like we do what we can. Even as we do it, we are also still practicing enoughness, practicing gratitude. As we do it, as we try to tie our camel or secure our roof, leaky roof, whatever, do that, and then trust, and then, do more, always in trust, and then always trust, even when we're not doing. It's enough. So anyway, I hope this is helpful in some way for you. Thank you for watching, and I wish you a wonderful, wonderful day.